What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode of Mic'd Up with Max Webster. Today we welcome on the next guest, another New York Giants content creator, an up-and-comer in the YouTube community, and a good friend of mine, my guy, Digge. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you? I mean, I've just been a little busy with school, but other than that, having fun. Life is good.
For sure, man, for sure. Yeah, I just got out of work not too long ago, so just kind of been focusing on that. But
Yeah, me too.
but I'm ready to get this interview going. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about Digge and a little bit of the insight onto the life of Digge, day in and day out, outside of the content that he makes. So. We'll talk a little bit about your platform, what you do. So talk about where people can find you, the type of things you cover. I mean, you're a Giants content creator, but more specifically, what can they find on your channel that maybe they don't find on other content creators?
So I kind of do everything on my channel. Sometimes I'll give you the general NFL videos. Most of the time, I'm going to give you just my takes on what's going on in the Giants community, a lot of hypothetical things. I'm really deep into the draft, really deep into the offseason. I'm actually in grad school for industrial organizational psychology, which is it has a lot of leadership principles, a lot of things that kind of relate to coaching. So I've done a couple of videos like that. If you go to my channel and type in the psychology or the sports psychology of Joe Judge, how he turned the team around, I like to kind of integrate those kind of concepts into sports. So I try to have fun. Yesterday I uploaded a Giants trivia video, so I try to mix it up.
Yeah, I saw that. Just kind of basically coming up with different Giants names to fill certain stat lines based on history of the team.
Pretty cool.
But so you said you're a psychology major?
Yeah, I went to psychology for my undergrad, and then for my graduate program, I'm in what you call industrial organizational psychology. So
Okay.
what that is kind of it's kind of like a mix of everything. It's psychology based, so we still use the same basic principles of psychology, but we apply that to a workspace or to any kind of an organization. So that can be applied to a team. Um, it works a lot of different ways. I've had professors and mentors that have worked with the NFL to kind of do the psychometric testing. There's a lot of surveying. There's a lot of it pretty much any job that you can think of. There's an IO. That's the short term for it. There's an IO that can make that job or make that organization better.
That's awesome. So where do you want? What's your ultimate goal as far as a career goes with that degree? I mean, are you wanting to make YouTube a full-time thing, or are you just trying to do that as like a hobby and a let off for you from your everyday job?
So I've always been someone who this has kind of led me to what my degree is in now. I've always been someone who wanted to kind of have a hand in everything because I'm so interested in like almost every career, and I can't do every career. But in IO, I can work for Google. I can work for a hospital. I can work for an airport. I can work for NASA. I can work pretty much anywhere, and that's
Cool,
kind
man.
of what. That's kind of what I think about YouTube. I want to kind of make YouTube, even if it's not necessarily on this channel, whether I use this channel as a stepping stone. YouTube will be a great first job,
Right.
but I also want to still consult on the side at least. And my dream with IO, my grad school program, is to eventually turn this into a consulting firm.
Well, that's cool,
But
man.
I would love to do both if there's enough
Yeah.
time in the day.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the same thing for me. I'm kind of in the middle of trying to find a full-time job right now. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at my other episodes, but I kind of went in a little bit. I separated active duty recently, and when I came back, I wasn't anticipating having a full-time position with the Air National Guard, and so far that hasn't come to fruition. But I'm not giving up, So keep applying, keep looking, and I wanted to create YouTube here, not necessarily as a way of making money, but initially, like I said, I was going to be a New York Giants content creator, but I didn't want to oversaturate the market, and the people who do cover the Giants, they're great at what they do. I didn't want to try to compete with that, and I figured I would just try to take a little bit different of an outlook into something that not only I was interested in finding out myself, but something that I would have fun creating for other people to sit here and watch. So that's kind of my goals with my YouTube here. I just kind of want to sit back, relax, have a good time. Don't want there to be any pressure to anybody who ever comes on my
Yeah.
YouTube channel. It's just kind of one of those we're gonna sit back, chill, have a good conversation, and then just let the times roll, you know. So let people who watch these videos can get to know myself and everybody I'm interviewing a little bit better with each and every episode. But with that said, we talked a little bit about your platform and some career goals. So let's talk about where you're from, where you live currently, if you grew up there, some simple things like that.
So actually, I'm from DC. Um, been here my whole life. Still in the area, and yeah, I mean, I went to in elementary school. I kind of bounced around to different schools, but in middle school, I went to one school, and then in high school, I went to one school. So um, yeah, been here, and then I went to college here, not in DC, but in Arlington, Virginia, which is about it was about 30 minutes away from my house. So I've been in the same area pretty much my whole life.
That's cool, man. I mean, it's always nice to like know the area. I'm sure you've
Yeah,
probably gotten out and seen things too. You know, you probably
yeah.
haven't just stayed in DC. But on the other, I think it was Hub Stream or maybe KB's the other day. You were talking about, or maybe it was your stream and Hub was on there. You were talking about how you kind of got to go to
Uh,
two different types of school growing up.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was saying that. I think that was on my channel.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. I mean, in DC, there's a lot of different. There's it's really diverse here. There's like all kinds of different people here. People that aren't from here. Of course, people of all races. People that are from every kind of walk of life. You can go to school with millionaires. You can go to
yeah.
school with people who are poor, and they'll all be in the same school, which is funny. So yeah, I've gotten to go to the schools um, that have had like people there who were millionaires. Their kids were there, and then I've gotten to go to schools where it was a little rough, and
Right.
my parents pulled me out of those schools. Luckily, I was able to be able to go to pretty good schools here. DC's public school system isn't really the best, so I didn't really have to go to too many public schools as a
That's
kid.
cool, man. That's cool. So in all of school, I imagine you had an interest in football. We were talking a little bit about it on your stream, but talk about some sports that you played, some experiences from those sports that maybe made you more interested or devoted to these sports, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, any other sport. Just some of the things you played as a kid.
Yeah. Um, as a kid, as a young kid, I played soccer. Um, I was pretty decent at that, but I wasn't really interested in sports as a kid. Uh, I was more interested in like books and um, I was interested in everything. I played a piano. I was interested in that kind of stuff, the regular kid stuff, magic tricks and everything. I used to watch wrestling as a kid, and I was a
WWE.
little kid. Yeah, definitely.
Who was your
Um,
favorite wrestler?
Undertaker and Stone Cold are probably my favorite wrestlers of all time. Um, yeah, I mean, I liked Rey Mysterio. I loved all of that stuff, but I've always been probably since I was about what 7. I probably liked the NBA before the NFL
Okay.
as like a passionate NBA fan, only because of Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
But as far as the NFL, I've probably been following it heavy since maybe like '05. Mind you, I was born in '97, so I wasn't that old
Right.
at all. So I've probably been following it since like '05, like actually invested, and then I can pretty much remember everything since 2006. But going back to what I did as far as sports, played soccer when I was younger. Um, that eventually kind of fizzled out. I went to a lot of different sports camps. If you count like skating as a sport, I used to do I went to like BMX camps and stuff. My mother put me in a lot of different camps to try to, try to see if I could, pick something that I liked.
Right.
Um, I guess in about sixth grade, all of my friends were going out and playing for football teams, and I love football. By that point, I was really into that, and I think in sixth grade, the Giants had just won the 2007 Super Bowl. So like I was really in love with it at that point. My team had won. I think if you remember, Eli Manning at that point, no one really gave him credit. So it was
Right.
like a
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah.
surprise that we had just done that. So yeah, I loved it. Um, I went out and I probably have only played about 6 or 7 games of organized football in my life
Oh wow.
as a kid,
Right.
as like through camps and stuff like that. With those are like as far as pads, probably only about 6 or 7 games. I was never really able to catch. I was never really able to catch, so I got to play corner, linebacker. That's easy when everybody's the same size. You can pretty
Yeah.
much play any
Right.
position. But yeah, I love football, and I never really. I was more someone who was interested in the NBA, mostly because of Kobe Bryant, as I said, and I never really was interested in actually playing basketball though. And I guess in about the my summer after my seventh grade year,
Uh-huh.
I went to my first basketball camp, and like I didn't even know I never really had played basketball seriously. I literally like when I first started, I would literally like pretend it was a football and just throw it at the rim. I would just throw it at the rim and just hope that something good happened. And yeah, at that camp, I had just gotten like I got destroyed like all summer by kids who were taking it really serious, and even like younger kids because they had actually been playing. So I didn't really know much of what I was doing, but eventually, it was fun. All the interaction, meeting new people, getting to get exercise. I've always been someone, even not necessarily when I was in the sports, I've always been someone who's really into exercise. So
Okay.
that part was fun. The teamwork part is always fun to me. I've always been someone who's loved to work in teams in pretty much all areas. So after that seventh grade year, went to that first basketball camp. The second basketball camp, I had kind of done some preparing. I went with one of my friends. I met some of his friends out there, so we all went like a group of like 5 of us. We were at the same camp, so that was a great summer, and I got a lot better. We had like a teacher that used to play overseas,
Uh-huh.
and he was, really went through all the fundamentals and stuff, and I finally felt like I actually know what I'm doing
Right.
on a basketball court. So uh, and I'm just telling you, sports as a kid can build so much confidence in all areas of life.
Oh, for
Even if
sure,
you don't
man.
make it to the NFL or the NBA or the MLB, if you can succeed on any level in sports, or even if you can just improve on any level in
Yeah.
sports, it's such a confidence booster as a kid. It just really
Absolutely.
is. So yeah, even now is like, what is this, like 10 years later, I can remember after my 8th grade year of me just like catching the ball and someone talking trash to me and stepping like past half court as like probably had to be like 5'8" after 8th grade as a 5'8" kid, and someone's talking trash to me, and I take like 2 steps past the half court line and just like shoot a 3-pointer from like Curry range. And I'm not
Right.
even I'm so new to basketball that I'm not even aware of where I'm shooting from, and it just goes in and everybody's just cheering for me. So it's definitely a big confidence booster.
Right. Growing up, I was kind of like that too. I was extremely small, even all the way through basically until 11th grade. So when I was younger, my mom didn't really want to let me play any football because of my size, afraid I would get
Yeah.
crushed. But I did hop sports. I played baseball for a couple of years. I played basketball for a year. But being super small definitely wasn't beneficial. My freshman year of high school, I was 4'9.5". and even today, I'm only standing at 5'7", $145. So still a rather small guy. But yeah, so especially like never playing football, like just being able to enjoy the game on TV and watching the New York Giants. I want to take the time to thank you, Diggy, and all other YouTube content creators who cover the Giants, especially during the last couple of years where the Giants haven't been so great. It hasn't been so easy to support a team. But I feel like even now, I've never felt like more of a Giants fan just because of the YouTube community and the people that are here to come on my podcast and talk to me, and so that I can go to their YouTube channel and listen to what they got to say about the team that I like. You know what I mean? So just want to take this time to thank you and every other YouTube content creator that's been on here and will be on here hopefully to talk about their lives and our interests together. But I wanted to transition a little bit into that and kind of ask, being from DC your whole life, what made you become a Giants fan? Was there like a moment where you became a Giants fan, or is it like family members who maybe moved from New York City and they're Giants fans? How did Diggy become a Giants fan and so interested not only in just saying I support the Giants, but liking them so much to create a YouTube channel about them?
Wow. So I can remember becoming a Giants fan. I think this was against the Broncos, of Eli Manning coming back. I'm just such someone who loves the underdog, and I'm pretty sure I was a kid, but I'm pretty sure with Eli coming back against the Broncos, hitting Amani Toomer.
Okay.
For a touchdown, I think, for the game winner. I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure that was the game, because whenever I see Shannon Sharp and I see him hate on Eli, I'm like, maybe that's why he hates Eli.
Right.
Even though I think that year he might have been on the Broncos. Yeah, he went back after the Ravens. So I think maybe that's why he hates on Eli. But that's probably the moment that I can think of. At that point, I was kind of surveying what team I like. I never really liked the Washington team, or whatever you want to call them. I never
the Washington
really
football team, or formerly the Washington Redskins, or
exactly. Yeah, the no names. I never really liked them. And the thing is, if you come to DC, you're gonna think that you're in Dallas. Everyone in DC is like a Cowboys fan, or an Eagles fan, or a Steelers fan, because everybody's Steelers fans everywhere because of the 70s. So there's a lot of different teams here, and like it's almost like the minority is Washington. It's almost like you don't really find consistent Washington fans until you go out into Virginia, which is hilarious to me.
Right, but, that's super crazy.
Exactly, and then some of the Maryland fans, they're Washington fans, and then some of them are Ravens fans. But it pretty much is the norm to not be a Washington fan here. And my dad's a Cowboys fan, and he got me like the Emmitt Smith jerseys and everything when I was a kid, and
okay,
it never really resonated with me. So I just eventually ended up picking the Giants.
So you had the rivalry in the household growing up?
Yeah, I had like superstitions where I was like, no, I can't watch this game with you, because every time I watch the Giants and the Cowboys, we end up losing to the Cowboys. So I started getting all kinds of rituals.
That's funny, man. But so that being the moment that made you a Giants fan, would you say, one, it's safe to say that maybe Eli was the reason that made you a Giants fan, or was it the team? Like, was it that one moment that Eli made you a fan, or was it that game as a team that you became a Giants fan?
I would say mostly Eli,
okay,
but definitely a team, just to see just like an underdog kind of team, just
right.
kind of, pull it out.
Give me some life experiences that people who watch you every day might not know, whether it be high school, college, just something that was super meaningful to you, that's kind of impacted your life in a big way, that might have molded the type of person you are, or the type of career path you're pursuing. Just something that's impacted your life in a good, bad way. Something that was just a funny moment. Just give me some.
Yeah, let me see. When I look at something that probably influenced me a lot, I would definitely say my 10th grade English teacher influenced me a lot. He was someone he really related to the students because he was funny, he was kind of witty, and he would just give a very different perspective than most teachers. Like he would play South Park in class. Uh, it was just, and like he would like play it and like analyze it and say like, do you see the metaphors that they're making and everything like that. So
That's cool. So he
excuse
was
me.
just kind
Yeah,
of like a student's teacher. He wasn't like
yeah,
the prototypical teacher who gets up there and was like, and this is what we're going to talk about today, class. Let's open our textbooks
exactly.
to page 74 and read paragraph 3
Exactly.
together.
Exactly. And he was really relatable in that way to where that kind of got me interested. I never wanted to be like a high school teacher or a middle school teacher, but that kind of got me interested in like academia or like higher
Right.
learning because if he molded education in a way that like it's not like something boring.
Hmm.
Um, or I'll give you someone better. Actually, what really molded exactly what I'm doing right now because that English teacher actually told me that he thought that I would be a great brain surgeon, a great
Really?
neurosurgeon, and I had like all A pluses in bio. I always was like, uh, the dissections of my cuts were flawless and everything. But someone that really influenced what I'm doing right now is my stats teacher, and I think that was in 11th grade,
Okay.
and she just talked about how statistics really, they relate to everything in life. Um, the media can lie with statistics. They can make you believe something that just simply isn't true. The media can, communicate something properly. You can basically make statistics tell whatever story you want them to tell. And that just like set off fireworks in my head. Um, when you hear people describe statistics, they sound like so bored and like it's horrible.
Yeah.
But when she taught me and the way that she taught me, like she used statistics every day in class as a real world example,
Right.
and that's really related to what I'm doing right now.
That's cool.
My whole first semester or first term of my grad school program, all we talked about were about how we can, tell the proper story with statistics, how we can lie with statistics if we want. And there's so many uses for it. And one of these days, I'm going to put together a really well made video about, pro football focus and all of these, football outsiders and all of these advanced stats to just say that they're not really the end all be all. And
Right.
you can really tell any story you want with stats. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
I've done it sometimes. I'm guilty of it. Sometimes you can bend them to your will. So,
Yeah. So being a statistics guy, are you also like a stock market guy? You play around in the stock market a bit?
um, see, I'm not. I plan to. I'm actually really conservative with like stocks and investments and things. So, I invest in usually like mutual funds and
Okay.
huge companies. I mean, I have a couple of Rocket Mortgage and Kirkland's. Like Costco, Kirkland's. So I'm usually conservative with that. I don't really those day traders. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to like because like they can make like 10,000 one day, lose 20,000 another day, and then they're like, it's okay because I'll make 40,000 tomorrow. But I couldn't do it. I
Right. Yeah.
can't even
Yeah.
gamble because
It's
I
it's
can't.
definitely an up and down road through all of that for sure. Like you said, it's literally just like gambling.
Yeah, I
That's what it
couldn't. I
is.
couldn't do it. Like I couldn't go. I've never been to a casino. Well, I've been to casinos, but I've never really played because I could never imagine me like losing thousands of dollars and then like having to leave out and paying that. I couldn't. I couldn't do it.
Right. But kind of we'll kind of take a step away from Diggy's life for a bit, and we'll pick your brain on some New York Giants stuff for a while. What do you think about
Sure,
that?
sure, that makes
So
sense.
so moving into the off season, you got your big topics. You got cornerback two, you got wide receiver, and of course, all of that is pending free agency. You got Leonard Williams, Dalvin Tomlinson, and who we're taking at 11. Now that who we're taking at 11 completely happen or depends on what happens as far as the cap space, what we're able to do in free agency. But we'll start with the Dalvin and Leo talk. My personal opinion, although I might not necessarily 100% agree with it all the time, because of how much I think Dave Gettleman has invested in Leonard Williams, I think he's back 100%. I see a likely scenario where we tag him. Whether that leads to a holdout, I'm not sure. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think we tag him, and I think they'll look to bring Dalvin back, but he very well may end up being a cap casualty. What's your opinion on the Leonard Williams, Dalvin Tomlinson situation?
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. In psychology, we call that the sunken cost effect, where you think that you've put so much energy and resources into something that you just won't give up on it, no matter how inconvenient it is. And that's true with Leonard Williams. And it's not even like he's been a bad investment. I mean, he had a great year last year.
Absolutely.
And it just, I mean, with anyone just with their ego, you would think that they would want to bring that guy back. So I'm just kind of preparing for him to come back. I know that the cap is really flexible, so we still might be able to go out and get that other position, that maybe an edge rusher or receiver or second corner. We can still do it. We could still, bring back Dalvin Tomlinson. So, but there's only so many moves we can make.
Right.
So everywhere you look, it seems like Tomlinson is the odd man out, which is a shame, because I did a film session on Leonard Williams this year. I did a film session on Dexter Lawrence this year. Didn't get to do one on Dalvin Tomlinson, but in every single film session I did along the defensive line, I mentioned Dalvin Tomlinson, because
even Leonard Williams
made everything happen.
Yeah, even Leonard Williams post press conferences, they'd ask him about like a specific play, and he'd be like, "Look, my man Dalvin over here was mauling people so that I could make that play happen." Like,
I mean, he's really ridiculous. Like, I've never seen someone so underrated. PFF actually, I talked about stats a little bit earlier, but PFF actually consistently rates him high. And I think they're right, because first off, all three of these defensive linemen, I think, are 6'3" and above, and they all have like ridiculously long arms.
Jesus.
And like, you just see people getting blown off the line. You see Dalvin Tomlinson throwing people on the ground, and it just opens up things for everyone else. So if he ends up leaving, we're definitely going to miss him. We're probably going to have to address that D tackle role in the top three, because in a 3-4, you need a tackle that can be stout, that can penetrate when you need him. You're going to need that, and you're going to need an elite guy there.
Right.
Or we're going to really see a drop off everywhere on the defense.
So are you on the same thinking as I, where you don't see a scenario where Leonard Williams is not here next year, and unfortunately that may lead to Dalvin leaving in a realistic situation?
I would say there's probably a 75% chance that Leonard Williams is back. But if I were to make these moves, I would say I would bring back Dalvin Tomlinson on a affordable deal, and I would draft Kwity Paye, or I would go out and draft someone or sign someone to replace that pass rushing production, whether that be signing Hassan Reddick, and then signing another lower tier free agent, and drafting someone in the 3rd or 4th round. I think maybe that pass rusher is harder to replace, but when you're paying him $20 million, you can get Dalvin maybe at $10 million, and then you can pay Hassan Reddick less than $20 million, and he's an edge rusher. So there's just a lot of ways you can go, but I'll say I'm about 75% sure that Leonard Williams is coming back, and I won't be angry about it.
So you said that you would bring back Dalvin and hope that you had enough money to pay Leonard, or you just let him walk?
Well, I mean, I think Leonard Williams is the best free agent we're going to have. So obviously I think the attention should be on him. Like right about now, until free agency comes up, the attention needs to be on him trying to get a deal before he even hits the market. If we can get him sub 20, then I think that's a good deal, because a lot of people say we're paying him, we don't want to pay him top 5 money. Now, when you look at the cap, when you look at the other defensive ends, whether that be 4-3, 3-4, these guys are getting paid 27, 25. The next person is going to get paid like 28. So it's not necessarily top 5 money.
Right.
And when the cap continues to go up in 2 years, his $20 million is going to be equivalent of paying someone like $13 million, because they're coming out with mega TV deals that might push the cap this year up. And then those TV deals, on top of the fans being in the stands, I mean, on top of just the excitement of just the NFL being able to have fans in the stands, I think that's going to really rocket the salary cap up. I'm just plugging up my computer real quick,
No
but
worries, man.
it's
No worries.
really going to rocket the salary cap up, and I think that 20 million won't be as much as we think. Just
Okay.
like Olivier Vernon getting paid 18 million back then was ridiculous.
Absolutely.
It was so much money, and it's still a lot of money now, but that's because the salary cap didn't go up this year. Now, if it would have gone up to 20 million that we thought, that's not really much money.
Right. So are you saying you think that maybe this is the perfect scenario to be in with Leonard Williams, to be able to sign him maybe on a little bit less of a deal and use the cap space to negotiate that and to set ourselves up for the future? You think this is a good scenario as far as where we're at with Leonard Williams right now?
I think you shouldn't overcomplicate it. Just the same philosophy I have to where if you can draft a player at 11, I mean, if you can draft a player at, if you think the player is worth the 19th overall pick, just take him at 11, because if he's outside the top 10, he's probably not an elite prospect. They're probably all in the same cluster. I just think you should keep it simple. Dak Prescott, he didn't get paid, and he didn't get paid, and he didn't get paid. And when he gets paid, he's probably going to make $46 million a year. What am I thinking of? Okay, last year, Leonard Williams, if we would have paid him the $16 million a year that he wanted, guess what? He's signed for the next 4 years under $16 million a year. Right. And that's right now we look at that as, oh, if he's coming back for $16 million a year, we take it all day.
Right.
And in 2 years, we're gonna say, oh, if we can have a player that's worth, this caliber for $20 million a year, I'd take it all day. I just don't want to pay him 26. So it's gonna continue to go up. Right. And I mean, we just have to, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet to keep the players that you have. You can't keep replacing, trying to replace good players with unknowns.
So here's the other question for you. The big complaint amongst Giants fans right now is a lack of weapons for Daniel Jones. Do you think that Kyle Pitts and Evan Engram with our current wide receiving core could be enough weapons to leave no more excuses open to say Daniel Jones can't be either to make a definitive he is or isn't the guy after this year? Like, if I'm not saying the only weapon we get, but the only person who is able to be a plug-in starter this year, because the other person we pick up is a 5th round wide receiver that, like a Darius Slayton, might not be a clear number one. Yeah. If getting Kyle Pitts at 11, do you think he can be the sole answer to providing enough weapons to tell us if Daniel Jones is the guy moving forward or not?
So I have 2 different responses to that. One, to kind of preface this, the NFL is a not for long league, and I've been the biggest Daniel Jones supporter on YouTube. I probably have been, at least in the top 2 or 3 Daniel Jones supporters. I really think that he's going to be a good quarterback. But in your 3rd year as an NFL quarterback, if you're still struggling, if you're not elevating your team, then, you have to start looking for a new quarterback, because even if that quarterback ends up being a good player, they're just going to be a good player. They're not going to be an elite kind of player. So this is his year no matter what happens. Yes. But also, if you do think that he's just going to be that good player, or even, I mean, just looking at it objectively, because everyone, there's a reason why everyone is struggling in the NFL. And with Jason Garrett there, Kyle Pitts and Evan Engram could be, monstrous. They could be, even with Evan Ingram's drops, if he drops 2 passes a game, those 2 together could be ridiculous. Absolutely. With someone who knew how to use them, especially with Saquon coming out of the backfield. Sterling Shepard is a number 2 receiver. I think Slayton is a number 2 receiver when he's healthy. And last year he was kind of injured. So Kyle Pitts could be that number 1 option. And we would have enough weapons, for us to put together a creative, effective offense. I don't think we would be able to be like a high-powered offense with just those guys. Right. But Jason Garrett just scares me. As plain as that, it might just be Jason Garrett is the reason that Daniel Jones didn't take that next step forward. And either way, whatever Jason Garrett does, I'm just going to have to just stay consistent with what I'm saying is the quarterback has to elevate the team, because I mean, third year, you have 2 more years left to win a Super Bowl, or at that point you didn't do what the team drafted you to do.
Yeah.
The object is to take that quarterback on his rookie deal and win a Super Bowl, and then after that, he's so good that whatever money you have to pay him, he makes the rest of his team better. So we need to see a tremendous step up. We really do, and I think we'll see it.
I agree. I think this is the year that Daniel Jones has to prove it, or the organization's going to start looking to move on. And if Daniel Jones doesn't prove it this year, I think Dave Gettleman is out the door next year.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good of an offseason he has this year, if Daniel Jones fails again, I think Gettleman is gone, and with that will come a new quarterback.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think even if the team makes the playoffs, and it's like one of those things where the quarterback is holding you back, we're probably going to see a veteran quarterback. We're probably going to see someone like Matt Ryan. We're probably going to see a veteran quarterback in it, because it seems that the roster that they're building, especially the defense, if they can get a couple of those weapons along with Saquon on his rookie deal, it seems like we're building a really great team.
Right.
So we're probably going to see a veteran quarterback.
The other thing I will say to you is the Jason Garrett. I think a lot of, if not all of Giants fans agree that the offense was extremely underwhelming this year based on the expectations for the team and Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator. But I wouldn't be so discouraged moving forward, only because we haven't even hit free agency yet. We haven't hit the draft yet. There's no camp started yet, and we've already started to see roles start to change. Like Freddie Kitchens is now a senior offensive assistant. We're bringing in a whole bunch of different minds. Our offensive line coach was an offensive coordinator in college, or was about to be an offensive coordinator in college. I don't remember. He was, wasn't he?
Yeah,
so we have all these different minds that I think after year one are going to be a collective mind when it comes to game planning week to week for the offense in its entirety. Now, Jason Garrett might still call the plays, but with the ingenuity of all these different people collaborating in a different role, I don't necessarily think we're going to have a top 5 offense next year. I don't expect that.
No.
But I would expect to see us back towards the half mark of the league. And with the way our defense played this year, I think that's good enough to take the NFC East. My other hot take as far as that goes, without knowing Washington's quarterback situation, right now I feel like the people we're competing for the division against next year is going to be the Cowboys. And again, that's dependent on Dak coming back, but I think he's going to. I think he ends up back in Dallas next year. And I think because Dallas did finish third in the division, whereas Washington, coming in first as a mediocre team, is going to be playing much harder games this year than Dallas. And so I just think Dallas is going to come in, and I know every year, and people are going to hate me for this because I'm a Giants fan, but I really think the softer schedule and maybe the injuries and from the offensive line and Dak Prescott kind of set them up to be above expectations this year. And so I think that's who we're competing against next year for the division. But again, that's all predicated on who Washington gets to fill their quarterback situation.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely agree with you. Dallas is going to have the easier schedule, but Washington really scares me. They really do, because if they get that second receiver, if they're able to come away with the tackle that they like, and if they get any veteran quarterback, if they get Cam Newton, I'll be scared. A lot of people wanted to count Cam Newton out, but he played with horrible receivers, like a horrible supporting cast, like awful. So if they get any one of these veteran quarterbacks, even if Andy Dalton is there, it just seems like this team, they're just, 2 or 3 pieces away from being a really complete, scary team.
Right.
Maybe it'll take that second off season for them to get that secondary help, as far as corner and stuff. But if they're able to get a veteran, they really are going to scare me. The Eagles, I mean, I'm not really worried about. It seems like they've blown everything up.
Yeah, I don't think any team in the NFC East is scared about what the Eagles are going to do this year by any means. But moving into the cornerback conversation, because you mentioned Washington's cornerback help there. What's your ideal moves there in a realistic scenario? Because I hear a lot of Giants fans talking about edge help. I hear a lot of Giants fans screaming for wide receivers. In my personal opinion on the corner position, we still have Yadam for another year on a rather cheap deal. We still have Love on his rookie deal. What I would like to do is I'd like to bring in a cheap veteran cornerback that can come in here and just compete with Love and with Yadam at that cornerback 2 position, because me as a Giants fan, as much as I'd love to see it, I don't think next year we're Super Bowl contenders. I think we're contenders for the division, and I think we try to make a playoff run, but I don't think we're good enough to try and go and win a Super Bowl next year. So for me, it's not about solidifying every single position this year. It's about solidifying some things on the offense and starting to polish this defense so that next offseason we can polish the entire team and go for a shot. But I would like to bring someone in we can get for 1, 2, maybe 3 million max on a 1-year deal, just a veteran cornerback who can come in here and compete at the cornerback 2 position and just play the hot hand, whether that be Yadam, whether that be Love, or whether that be the person we decide to bring in. And I know you're probably going to talk about Boye because you made that video about it a little bit ago. My fear with Boye is he's coming in next year with a suspension.
So he's going to miss the first 2 games.
Oh, it's only the first 2?
It might be the first 4. I'm pretty sure it's the first 2 because he got a 6-game suspension. And I think he missed the last 4 of last year.
Okay. So. Well, if it's only the first 2, then I might be more willing to look at him. I heard the 6-game suspension, and so I thought we'd be missing him for the first 6 weeks of next year, and that's why I wasn't so interested.
Served 4 games, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead and answer what you want to do at that cornerback 2 position, and just your thoughts on all of it.
Yeah, I think corner is our most overrated need. I think it's our most overrated need because it's really dependent on what else we do. We could go corner at 11, which would fit with you, with what you were saying. We're not necessarily a Super Bowl contender this upcoming year. We have to show that we're a playoff contender, someone who can win games in the playoffs before that. And sorry if you're hearing a emergency thing in the background or something. The police.
I don't hear anything. You're good, man.
But anyway, it depends on what else we do. So if there are no receivers on the board and the Giants feel that they're the best player on the board, we could take Patrick Surtain. We could take Caleb Farley, which I think that really makes us a good team for the next 3 to 4 years at corner, because we have Bradbury for the next 2 years. Yep. We could extend him this year first, to get some cap space out of it. And I think him for the next 2 years, and one of these young rookie corners who are good for the next 4 years, that solves the secondary. If we take that wide receiver and the draft, then we could look in the second round for someone like Asante Samuel Jr. We could look. There's a ton of corners who I think are able to come in and play that cornerback 2 spot all the way into like probably the 4th round. So that's one way you can go that's low cost, that they can get better as we go along, and by the time we're hopefully competing for a Super Bowl, they've become way better players than what they are at right now. As far as free agency, I would look into Boye, but I don't think we necessarily need to spend 5 to 8, 9 million on a cornerback when we have needs that are, wide receiver is a ridiculous need, because the whole point of getting Daniel Jones a receiver is to get him a reliable target that we know is going to be able to elevate his game. And that's the risk you take when you take a rookie wide receiver. He still has to develop. If he's the best of all time, he still has to develop.
Right.
Free agency, you would have that consistent threat day one. So I think that's the biggest need. We already talked about Leonard Williams, Dalvin Tomlinson. I'd rather have Dalvin Tomlinson than to have, a corner. I would rather have him.
Yeah.
Even if you look to sign, like a backup tackle, Cam Fleming is probably underrated I think Cam Fleming could come back as a backup tackle.
Yeah, but, I'm for bringing him back for another year on a 1-year deal. He
got a lot
around the same money. But my anticipation for him this year would not be to start on the offensive line. It would be to fill that backup swing tackle role, which
to do what we
all thought he was going to be this year. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I mean, he played. He wasn't the worst. I don't care what the grades are. People say PFF ranked our offensive line the worst. I've seen a lot of offensive lines this year. We weren't the worst.
no,
They sent 9 blitzers at us most of the time this year because we couldn't get open on the outside.
mm-hmm.
So that kind of skews things. The offensive line isn't used to picking up 8-9 man blitzes all game.
Right.
So that's one thing. But Cam Fleming didn't do a horrible job. He had some bad games because he was brought in to be the swing tackle, not the starter.
Right.
So to summarize the cornerback thing up, if we sign Bouye, would I be mad? No, but I think that money could go other places, and I think we can get a cornerback in the first 4 rounds that can compete at that number 2 spot because we weren't horrible last year. The offense, if that improves, if that becomes a top 15 offense, then that makes this team a playoff team. That gets us to 10 wins, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I don't expect a Super Bowl run this year. Although it would be great, it would be something that would probably quiet the haters in the fan base.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not justified. I mean, it's been a long time. We've been bad, you know. I can't be mad for people not being happy with the performance. But yeah. Anyways, we'll roll back into some stuff about Digge. Going back, you were saying that one of your teachers, because of your biology experience, said you'd be a great, was it neurosurgeon?
Neurosurgeon, yeah.
Did you ever have any interest in following that, or was it kind of just one of those, a teacher saw something in you and you were just like, yeah, maybe?
So I kind of became everything that I wanted to be. As I said, my career that I'm going into now is kind of versatile. But on top of that, a lot of people that get my degree, they also work in like the ergonomics of things. Like they'll design like where this goes in an office, like, you know, the people that design like the mouse, is it mice or mouse when it's like an electric thing? You know, the ergonomic mouse that people use. Some people that get this degree design those things. And I wanted to be a biomedical engineer, which is someone that, you know, makes prosthetics for people and stuff like that. I really wanted to do that. It eventually turned into wanting to be a orthopedic surgeon, and that's kind of what I listened to from that teacher. I was always interested in becoming a surgeon, but that was kind of like the extra kick that I probably needed. And I went into my undergrad program as a bio major, wanting to go into that. And I ended up changing it after my first year and a half to psychology.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool, man. All right, so before we started the show, I told you I was going to do a new segment and try it out with you. It's just going to be some questions. I'm going to shoot them off, and as I read it, you're just going to give me some rapid fire answers. I got probably about 10 of them here. We'll just run through them and just see how people enjoy this part of the show. You ready? All right. Favorite board or card game? What is it?
Monopoly.
Monopoly. All right. What's your favorite beverage? Alcoholic and non-alcoholic. If you alcoholic if you drink alcohol, non-alcoholic if you don't, or both.
I don't drink much alcohol. I mean, if I was to go by taste, I mean, maybe Mike's Hard Lemonade. I mean, I used to drink beers, but I didn't really drink it for the taste.
All right. And favorite non-alcoholic?
Non-alcoholic, I'd probably say cranberry juice or lemonade.
Okay. Favorite cake?
Chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake. Besides your wallet and your phone, what is a must-have on your person at all times?
My wedding ring or my
your wedding ring. All right. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, I say Anchorman 2.
Okay. If you could go anywhere in the world for a 2-week vacation with your wife, where are you going?
I found out about this place like a couple of years ago, and I definitely want to go there. The Maldives.
The Maldives.
Where like it's like see-through water is perfect.
Yeah, for sure, man. Favorite musical artist? Who is it?
He actually passed away this week. Chick Corea, the piano player.
Okay. And we'll end it with this one. Your wife might kill you. Favorite celebrity or your top celebrity crush? Who is it?
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington. All right, you heard it, guys. That's the rapid fire question session of this Mic'd Up with Max Webster episode. If you liked it, drop a comment down below. Let me know you like it. But we'll get back into Digge here, and I guess just give me give me something maybe the viewers who watch you all the time just might find it as an interesting fact or interesting story. It doesn't have to be something that impacted who you are or what you've become. Just maybe a funny memory or something that stands out to you that if anytime your viewers hear this story or whatever, they'll be like, that's Diggy's story.
I don't know. I kind of talked about this before, in my own stream, that kind of surface area. I think Bobby said this too about him being in football. I was kind of a dirty player in basketball. Uh, my entire team was filled with dirty players. I had a teammate that would like yank people's shorts down when he was dribbling, so he could get past people. I would flop all over the court because I was smaller than people. I was playing like the 4 and the 5, and I was playing against people who were like a foot taller than me, but I could jump. But because they were so much taller than me, it was so easy to just flop and get called because they're like, he's just so little. So it was so fun to do that to me. I don't know why, but it was just fun to just Bill Belichick my way through high school.
All right, so you said you're married to your wife. How long have you been married for?
Actually, since June 12th this year.
Okay, so fairly new. Any baby Diggies or future baby Diggies?
Not yet. Hopefully soon.
Yeah. Got any names picked out yet? Or are you just waiting and holding off
yet.
for now? Didn't know if you wanted to have like a junior.
No.
All right, man. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. I'll go ahead and let you say last couple words. If you want to leave last couple comments, I'll go ahead and close out the show after that. But I want to thank you for coming on. It's been a great time. I appreciate you joining me. I learned some great things about Diggy. Got to get inside of his perspective on the New York Giants a little bit, and had a good time just talking to you, man.
Great, man. This was fun. I was excited to hear about this idea. I was excited to come on. I definitely think that this is going to be something that blows up. Good luck to you in the future. Thanks for having me on. It's only the second guest ever. We're all going to look back at this and I'm going to be like, I was the second guest ever on Max Webster's podcast when you hit 1 million subs. So,
I hope.
Yeah,
man,
definitely. Thanks for having me on. You can find me everywhere, all social media, Digge546. You can even find me on Xbox Live at Digge5467.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, Diggy. Well, I appreciate you joining me. Don't think this is going to be the last time. I'm sure as the show develops, we'll have you back on, maybe have an update, even a short, quick episode. But all of Diggy's links I'll have in the description down below. If you guys want to go in the description and the comments, you can find his Twitter. I'll put his YouTube on there. And thanks again for joining me, Diggy. Hope all of you viewers watched. And until next time, peace.